Welcome to the Soar podcast, the place for creative entrepreneurs with limitless dreams and unconventional stories. I'm your host, Ray Hyde Cornell, founder and business mentor at Chiron Consulting and CEO and senior copywriter at Cornell Content Marketing. My goal is to bring you stories of what's possible so you can never tell yourself that your dreams are impossible. All right, today we have with us Christie Moran. Christie, please introduce yourself and tell our wonderful listeners all about your business.
Thank you, Ray. I am Christie Moran, as you said. I'm an empowerment coach, and I work with people who have really reached a crossroads in their life. They've reached this point where it's like, what am I even doing? Like, how did I get here? This is not the life that I dreamed of living. Like, what the? And are really ready to make that change and really get clear on what it is they want instead. Because for a lot of people in this space, they don't even know what that looks like. They know they don't want the life they've been living, the career they've been living, but they don't really know what else is possible. Yeah. It's that, you know, I still haven't figured out what I want to do when I grow up yet. You know, these people might be in their 40s or 50s. And it's like, I still haven't figured that out. And I've just been living this life. And I'm now at this point where I know there's more out there. I know there's got to be something more available because this can't be it.
Yeah.
And so I then take them on that journey to really connect with who they are, what it is that lights their heart and soul on fire, what it is that, you know, excites them to jump out of bed for in the morning. And we start to go on that journey, let go of all the crap and baggage of the past so that they can really step into that and you know, letting go of all of the sabotaging behaviors and beliefs and all of the stuff that's been stopping them up till that point. So they really can go out and create the life and career that they've dreamed of.
Yeah.
And the life that they're actually fulfilled in.
Yeah. And tell me, who do you work with? Because, you know, prior to us recording this episode, we were talking about how we're both writing a chapter in our upcoming book, Corporate Dropouts, and which by the time people are listening to it, this will have been out. You can go check out Corporate Dropouts online. But I love that phrase, corporate dropouts, and yet it doesn't always describe exactly everyone that we both work with, because we hear corporate and we think like, oh, AT&T and Apple and Amazon, and why do they all start with A's? I don't know. But all of those kind of like big faceless corporations. But really, when we talk about this like corporate dropout lifestyle, which I know this project is very near and dear to both of our hearts, that can look like a lot of different things, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different work cultures and environments that are just not the right fit for you either at all or anymore based on where you are in your life now. So who do you work with?
Yeah, and that's a really great point. And I guess, yeah, we use the word corporate, but for me, that is a bit broader than that. It is absolutely, you know, banking and finance and people in those corporate organizations, but it's broader than that because there's also, you know, salespeople, there's also teachers. It's more of an environment where there is a lot of people, there's a lot of politics and crap and restriction on who you actually can be while you're at work. Yeah. And I find it is generally those larger organizations that I seem to be attracting the people from, because they don't feel like they can truly be who they are or be the best version of them. They don't have the freedom to be able to express who they are inside that environment. And so they end up cutting parts of themselves off, ignoring what they truly want or need in order to fit in what is required, who they're required to be in that environment. And so they end up feeling quite stuck. Yeah. And then being able to step away from that. And I work with, you know, people who are looking to get into coaching or are quite creative. So, you know, it might be, you know, personal trainers, coaches, photographers. It's got that real creative people element to it.
Yeah.
They're really wanting to come home to who they are, really identify what is it for me, the person. What is it that, I'm going to enjoy doing when I wake up every day? And how can I have that impact on the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really personal journey. And often people don't know where they're going to go when they start that journey.
Yeah. And that's the, when you were talking about where people start when they start working with you, the phrase that came to my mind was, being stuck in a mold. And then as you're talking about this experience of working with you, it's like you shatter that mold. And that's the really exciting but also scary part of this process, and deciding to shatter that mold and go out on your own, forge your own path, is you don't know exactly where it's going to take you. And so there's this kind of like frenzied feeling inside, and you have to learn how to harness all of that energy that's really been bottled up and muted and just not let out when you've been in that forced mold that society has put on you. And one of the things that I really love about the work that you do is you use the phrase energetic transformation. Tell me about what that means, like what that looks like, because to my super woo-woo manifesty brain, like that makes so much sense to me. But to anybody who's listening to this, talk about what that looks like in terms of someone's quality of life and that aftermath of you've shattered the mold, you're going through this energetic transformation. What does that look like?
Yeah. A lot of people are trying to make these changes just from the conscious mind. And 95% of the time, we're running from automatic on all of the programming we've already got, which includes all of the triggers and traumas and past experiences that we've got. And so as we try and make this choice with our conscious mind, which was the only 5%, approximately 5% of our mind, our conscious mind is gone, but I want to have a better life and I want to do this thing and I'm going to go out and, change the world. And it's fighting against the 95%. And so it's like being an ant and you're tied to an elephant and the elephant's walking in the other direction. And you are this little tiny ant and you're trying to push forward, and it's hard and it's effort, and it's no wonder that you get pulled back or give up because it's too hard. And with the energetic work that I do, we're able to shift those triggers, those traumas, that emotion that's sitting in the unconscious mind that is creating all of that tension. And so it allows the unconscious mind and the conscious mind to both be on the same page, so that the ant and the elephant are walking in the same direction, which then just makes life easy. So there's lots of different ways that you can shift that. But the way that I work is from a space of creation, because we're not broken. It doesn't matter what's happened in your life or how broken you might feel right now. We are not broken. It is simply all of the programming that we've created for ourselves in our own unconscious mind based on our experiences. And so these programs are there because we put them there, and we put them there to keep us alive, to keep us safe. They
served a purpose at one point, a very valid purpose.
Doing a good job.
Yeah.
They've been doing exactly what we hired them to do.
Yeah.
And because a lot of that was put into place before we even turned 6, some of those rules don't serve us anymore.
Yeah.
But we put them there, we created them. So even though it might feel broken sometimes, we're not broken. And we don't need to go backwards and fix everything first because we're not broken. So when we work with creation, it's about, what do we want? Let's get clear on where we're going. And when we start to get clear on where we're going and what we want to create in this world, it automatically brings all of the crap up.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to say to you, go out and, buy $1 million house, you've got to do it today. Straight away, you have all this stuff come up, but I don't have $1 million and I wouldn't know where to start. And how do I, all of it just comes up because you made a choice. So as soon as you make a choice to go, this is what I want, this is what I want to create in my life, all of the crap is there. And that brings it into that active experience. And energetically, we're able to then go through and recode the unconscious mind based on that being in the active experience to align with the choice that we're making. So it allows us to then move forward with more ease. So it's not just then relying on that conscious mind, that little ant trying to push through and do all the work. It actually then allows us to support the ant to move forward.
So it sounds like what you're saying is it's not about saying that, I love that you say that we're not broken. It's not about saying that all this stuff that comes up when you go, holy shit, I've got to somehow come up with $1 million. Or, a lot of people are going through things like, oh, I've got this unexpected property tax bill, or I've got this unexpected medical bill. And they're like, oh my God, I've got to come up with $20,000 out of nowhere. I don't have that. And instead of getting lost and frustrated with ourselves and starting to beat ourselves up for all the things that come up, the I'm not good enough, the overwhelm, the anxiety, the frustration, the fear, it sounds like what you're saying is you take all of that as valuable information, valuable energy, and you change it, you transform it into something that's going to actually send you forward instead of hold you back. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. It lets go of all of the trigger, the tension, the emotion around the past experiences. It holds on to the wisdom and the learnings, which allows you to make a more clear-headed choice about the way forward without all of the tension and fear and doubt holding you back and getting in the way. Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you seen from this kind of like third party or potentially even second party kind of partner working with your clients in this way? What do you see in a client when they first start to work with you versus maybe 6 months after they've worked with you? What does their decision making look like?
Yeah, as they start to let go of these triggers, they're more freely available to be able to make a conscious choice, because it can sometimes feel like we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because of all of the stuff, or because the emotion is so high and so charged, it can feel like we have no choice. We're controlled by those things. And even though we do have a choice, it doesn't feel like it because it's only that 5% against the 95. So letting go of all of that creates that more of an ability to be able to use that conscious choice. And so even then when stuff does come up, you're able to be more aware of, oh, okay, yeah, that thinking is not helpful. What do I choose instead? Whereas when you're consumed by all of the stuff, it's very difficult to choose a different thought, even though you might know that it's going to be beneficial. It's like, I know I should be, but I can't. So it allows people to actually put the practical tools into place with more ease. It allows them to be more aware of the thoughts that they're thinking and the things that they're saying to themselves and the choices that they're making, and being aware of, oh, what's showing up in my world out here, and owning it and going, okay, so something I've done, being the energy I hold, has created what I've got out here. Okay, if that's not what I want, what can I do to start to shift that internally so that the outside starts to show up differently? And that can sound very woo-woo to people who have not experienced it. But when we hold a belief like, I have to work hard, for money, I have to sacrifice myself in order to get what I want. When we hold these types of beliefs, they have a vibration to them. And it's this vibration that is attracting like vibration out in the external world. And so it's attracting situations to match that belief. Whatever belief we have, we can absolutely prove it. Yeah, absolutely, 100% we can prove it.
Yeah,
because that's what we're attracting. And so when we shift that belief and we change it, then we change what's happening outside of us as well. It feels like magic. It's not magic. It's law of attraction.
Exactly. And there's also science to it. There's a lot of brain science to it. And I talk a lot about this in my free manifestation email course, where the reticular activating system in our brain is the system that helps us make sense of all of the details that we're bombarded with all the time. So you go out into the world, maybe you go to the park and you look at the field of vision in front of you. You see grass, you see trees, you see leaves, but you don't see each individual leaf. You don't see each individual blade of grass until you start focusing on it. And then if you focus on the individual blade of grass, then you see the next and the next and the next. And it allows us to focus in on and see more of what we want to. And so if our beliefs are coming from that place of, I have to work hard in order to be successful. There's no way that I can get all of my work done in a day. I have to sacrifice my workout time, or I have to sacrifice my time with my family in order to do everything that I absolutely have to do. If that's a belief, and it's not necessarily that you want to see that, but a part of you wants to see that because that's what's safe and familiar, then that's what you're going to see more of. That's the reality that's going to play out in front of your eyes. So it's so interesting because I feel like you and I could talk about all the woo-woo-y stuff all day long, but it is very based in science and neuroplasticity and the way that our brain works. And when we say creating our reality, that's what we mean. Is it's going down into looking at those beliefs that are in your subconscious that are directing your conscious mind to see more of what your subconscious wants it to see. So how, if someone wanted to just get started kind of like as a self-experiment in listening to this, what advice would you give someone in starting to reprogram some of those subconscious beliefs that are not helpful? They're the elephant plowing in the complete opposite direction from where they want to go. Where do they even start?
It really is starting to build your own awareness of what's going on in your own mind, because this stuff that we say to ourselves, the thoughts we have running through our mind are so unconscious.
Yeah.
It's so unconscious. And we've been doing it our whole life. And so when we start to become aware of what are those thoughts, what is it that's going on through my head that's creating the way that I feel, and recognizing that the thought creates the feeling, gives you then power to change it. When you start to become aware and notice that, and you might not notice the thought first, you might notice the feeling. And you go, oh, I feel anxious. Oh, what's that about? There must be something going to go wrong here. Yeah. And then you start spiraling down because the feeling has then triggered another thought, another negative thought. And that negative thought then has enhanced the negative feeling. And so you spiral down. So when you recognize that and go, oh, I feel a little bit anxious here. Oh, hang on a minute. Am I safe? Yeah, actually I am. Okay, I'm safe. Everything's all good. Yeah, thanks. It's like acknowledging it, noticing it, but choosing to make a conscious choice about what you think, rather than just allowing the automatic to be there and carry you away. Yeah. And so when we then start to recognize that, just being aware of it and noticing it, we get to make that conscious choice and go, oh no, yeah, no, everything's good. Let it go, instead of being consumed by it. And that is so important at any stage of the process, whether you're right at the beginning of the process or whether you're, have been going through personal development for a long time. The choices you make about your thinking are so powerful, so powerful. And if we can just do that one thing, change the thought so that it's something that feels better. And when we recognize that thoughts and feelings are not reality, they are a perception. And like you explained with the park, they're a perception based on your past experiences, the life that you've had, all of the rules and decisions that you've made and got in your unconscious mind. And so you're having a perception of a situation, which then produces a thought, which has a flow on feeling. So when we change our perspective on something, it changes our thinking and changes our feelings. Yeah. And so we just need to choose and go, okay, well, I'm having this thought that's giving me this feeling that great communication. If we just look at it as it's communication, go, I don't really like feeling this way. I don't like feeling anxious. Cool. What else can I choose?
Yeah.
What else can I choose? And choose a thought that feels slightly better and head in that direction instead. And
Yeah.
it might be one little tiny baby step at a time, because you can't. Some people struggle with affirmations because they try and go from this really negative place to flipping it to the complete, 180
It just
and go
feels
to
so
the other end. It
unrealistic.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic. And all it does when you go, you're dead broke and you're going, I'm a millionaire. All it's doing in your mind is going, no, I'm not.
No,
This
you're
is
not.
bullshit.
And you're
Like,
lying to
you
yourself.
can't
And
lie to
yeah.
yourself. Like it doesn't work. You're just
Yeah.
triggering all the negative inside of you. So it's finding the better feeling thought that is actually true for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be that, you know, I'm able to create more. I've made money in the past and I can make money again. There's lots of different ways to make money. These thoughts start to feel a little bit better than, oh my God, I'm dead broke. And it starts to head you in the right direction.
I think this is such an important conversation because I feel like all of us, I'm just going to blanket statement say all of us tend to get very sensitive and almost defensive or protective about our emotions. We think, well, that's just how I feel. I feel anxious. I feel depressed. I feel scared. I feel whatever, fill in the blank with any number of negative emotions. And we just think that is the way it is. And nobody, like if someone tells me not to be upset or not to be scared or, to build this business despite the fear, they bristle and they kind of resist, they recoil from that advice because we get so protective around, well, that's how I feel. We get so protective around our emotions.
Yeah, and it's not to devalue the feeling,
Right.
because yes, we feel it.
Yes.
It's acknowledging that, yeah, it's there. Do I want to keep feeling it? I don't want to feel something else.
and understanding this chain that you just explained, where the emotion comes from a thought, and that thought comes from a belief. And just like you said, thoughts and feelings, and I'll add beliefs, they're not fact. They are things that have been implanted in us through past experience, whether that's been culturally or individually or from trauma, from relationships, whatever it might be. We took in those beliefs and those thoughts that are creating these emotions. And so it doesn't detract from the validity of what you're feeling. But I'm hoping that by listening to this, people feel empowered by the fact that understanding where those emotions are coming from does give them a choice. It's not that, oh, I just have to sit with the fear and sit with the depression and sit with the anger. Yeah, you have to feel it and let that emotion flow through you. Otherwise, it'll get stuck. But you also have the option to go back to the beginning of that chain, to look at your beliefs that are shaping your thoughts and choose again. I like, Gabrielle Bernstein in her book, Becoming a Super Attractor, she talks about her choose again method. And it's very similar to this, where she says, choose again. You have that option.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that you no longer feel burdened by the emotion, and you no longer have to beat yourself up for feeling whatever you're feeling. Your emotions then become information.
They do. And when we use it as communication and information, it's empowering, and we have choice. And, energetically, we also want to recognize that we pick up on other people's stuff. We pick up on other people's feelings and thoughts, whether we recognize it or not, and we claim it as our own. And so there would be times in your life where you've all of a sudden, felt really sad or really depressed or really frustrated or, whatever the emotion, and couldn't explain it. I don't even know why I feel this way. I just do. And because I do, well, there must be a reason. So now I'm going to search through and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to, and we own it. And when we start to use these emotions as communication and information, we can also start to recognize, is this even mine? Or is this something that I'm picking up from somebody else? Am I just, when you walk into a room and somebody's been arguing, even if you haven't heard the argument, you can feel it. You go, you
Yes.
can cut the air with a knife. You
Yeah.
know, there's a saying for it because it's true.
Yeah.
You can feel it. But in those instances, you go, oh, what's been going on in here? You don't take it on as yours.
Right.
However, when you're around somebody who, say, might be feeling anxious and you pick up on their anxiety, you can easily, especially if anxiety is something that you are familiar with in your world, you might pick that up and go, oh, wow, okay, I'm feeling anxious. And you just own it and take it on and hold on to it rather than allowing it to just pass through.
Yeah.
When we can recognize that and go, hang on, is this even mine? No, actually, there's nothing for me to be anxious here about. Okay, let it go.
Yeah.
I don't have to live in it. I can just let it go. Yeah.
So in your work, you really specialize in helping people who are feeling stuck. They're feeling unhappy, unfulfilled, unsatisfied, and almost like their life is not their own. Like, how did I get here? And so, how does all of this stuff that we've been talking about, using your emotions as information and communication, how does that relay into transforming your life from something that doesn't feel like yours and that you're unhappy? And how does that help you in that transition to something new and exciting that you can really claim as yours and be happy with?
A lot of us have given our power away. We've put it in the external. And for a lot of the people that I work with, it's their life has been about achieving all of the things, getting the good job, climbing the corporate ladder, getting the next promotion, the pay rise, being able to, you know, support the family, build the house, achieve all of the external goals. And for the most part, these people have done that. They've hit those goals, and the way they'd structured their thinking was, well, once I've gotten all of those things, then I'll be able to be happy. Life will be fulfilling. But what they recognize when they hit that point is not happy, not fulfilled. I've got all this money, I've got this job, I've done all these things. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
is that it?
This is not what,
Yeah.
no, this is not how it was supposed to turn out.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be happy and fulfilled. What happened? And it's about coming back to the internal, coming back to who are you? What is it that you actually want? Not the house and the car. What is it that you actually want? What is the purpose of having the house and the car? What did you decide it was going to give you? Happiness and fulfillment. Okay. So let's create happiness and fulfillment instead of creating house, car, job, promotion, blah, 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 hoping they'll give you happiness and fulfillment. And so we bring that power back to them by coming back to who they are, what it is they truly want, and starting to create that. And it teaches them the skills to be able to create from that place, from their heart, rather than from their mind, because our mind gets in the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, planting a tree. When we plant a seed for a tree, if we want a lemon tree, we plant a lemon tree seed.
Yeah.
We don't plant an apple tree and hope that it turns out to be a lemon tree. And that's what we're doing with our manifestations. We're going, oh, well, at the end of the day, I want to be happy and fulfilled. So, okay, I'm going to go and plant a house tree, and I'm going to plant a car tree and a job tree and a promotion tree, and all of those trees grow.
And then we're looking for,
because you didn't plant the seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where we get caught up in this is, if we're planting the seed from lack, we're not actually planting, say, abundance, we're planting scarcity. Mm-hmm. If we're going, oh my God, I can't pay the bills, I need more money, how am I going to get more money? The energy behind that is, I don't have enough, I have lack. And when we say planting the seed, it's the focus, and not just our conscious focus, because we know our conscious focus is like 5%. Yeah. We want, you know, all of our focus. And so if 95% of our being is going, we don't have enough, I'm freaking out, I can't pay the bills, that's where the focus is. That's what we're creating. So we've got to be able to shift all of that energy, shift those beliefs so that our focus can be on what we actually want to create. And
So,
then that becomes a seed we're planting.
and how does someone do that? How do they, especially when you're in these very challenging situations that we've all been in, where we go, no, I really do need $2,000 this month. I need to make rent, or I need to pay my mortgage. How do you shift from that place of, I legit need this money and I'm scared about what's going to happen if I don't get it? How do you shift from that into a true, authentic place of abundance so that the remaining 95% of you is on board with abundance and not on board with, I'm terrified that I'm not going to get this money and I'm in scarcity mindset?
Absolutely. And it's not always easy. Yeah. And when we do this energetically, we can do it really quickly and we can do it within minutes, because we're able to shift that energy so that you can go from being in fight or flight or freeze back into a whole brain state. And when we're in fight, flight, freeze, we've shut off our logical thinking mind. We don't have access to all of our knowledge, wisdom, and resources. We've only got the stuff to keep us alive. So we're limited. So it is about coming out of that fight and flight mode so that we've got full access to all of our resources and wisdom. And all of a sudden, we can see different possibilities. We're aware of new things. And so whether you're doing that energetically or you don't have those tools and you're able to use it just with changing thought, it's then where gratitude is so powerful. Because with gratitude, when we start to go, oh my God, I'm freaking out, I can't pay the bills. Okay, what gratitude can I find in this? And you start to look for it and go, oh, well, yeah, that's right. I have that $20 coming in here, or yeah, that person mentioned that opportunity over there. And, that's possibly something that I could look at. And well, I've often felt like I couldn't pay the bills. And in the past, I've actually always found a way. And you just by using gratitude, you can start to look at, hang on, what are all the little things that I'm missing here? Because it's like that focus again in the park. All we're focused on is how we can't pay the bills, right? How we don't have enough.
All the things that are empty from the park. You don't see the Ferris wheel, you don't see the hot dog cart, all the things that are missing. Yeah. But when you focus on what is there, it's so full.
Yeah. And when we realize, if we can't feel abundant in today's age, when we have running water and we have, supermarkets full of food that we can just go down and buy, and there's ways that we can make money in, a million times more than you could 100 years ago. Yeah. We have the internet, we have abundance of information and access to people, tools, communication. There's free resources. There is so much out there. And if we can't feel abundant today, when you think about the people living 100 years ago, my God, if they could have even imagined the life that we've got now.
Yeah.
Like that would have been their ultimate dream. And then we can sit here now and today and go, oh, I don't have enough.
Right.
Seriously, focus on what we have.
Yeah.
Focus on what is there. Focus on the abundance and the gifts that is available. And when we start to change that thinking, because it all comes back to the thinking, we start to change that thinking and that focus and start to look at what I do have, you start to feel safe again. It brings you out of that fight and flight and opens up other possibilities, possibilities you couldn't see before because you were too consumed by I can't afford it, I can't pay the bills. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned the word gratitude. Like the second you said that, I was like, yes, I'm so glad you said that, because gratitude is one of, if not the most high vibe emotions. Next to love, next to joy, it is up there. It is such a high vibe and powerful emotion. And, we talked about this chain of emotion, thought, belief, and sometimes that chain can feel out of our control. It's like, I just keep getting hit with these emotions. And so we can almost use that to our advantage. If you're getting hit with these negative emotions, you can get hit with the powerful, overwhelmingly positive emotion of gratitude. And then that can help you get to the beginning of that chain where you can plant that seed of abundance. So I think that's a perfect exercise when we do get into scarcity mode, which it happens to all of us, absolutely all of us, that scarcity, the fear, the self-doubt, the worry, when that happens, if you just start, okay, what is there to be grateful for? So grateful for the roof over my head. I'm so grateful for the fact that we have running water. So grateful for my husband, for my dog, for the cat who just loves to cuddle. He's the weirdest, most obscure cat in the world because he's very not aloof. He's very emotional. I mean, you just, your brain starts going on this cycle. I could keep going. Like I had to force myself to stop listing things just there, because when you start seeing one thing after another that you can be grateful for, it becomes this overwhelming sense. And you don't have to worry so much about logically choosing, okay, I know I'm in scarcity mode. How do I logically choose into abundance mode? You can feel your way into it by following that gratitude pathway.
You absolutely can. And sometimes, you need to empty out before you can get to gratitude. If you're in a space that's like, no, I just can't find anything. No, I'm not doing it. It's sometimes worth sitting down and just emptying out on all of the crap, all of the negative, all of the things that you're worried about. You can sit down with your journal and just empty that side out and then go, okay, that's done. What is on the other side?
Yeah.
What is there to be grateful for? And then fill that page as well.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you need that bridge, sometimes, because we don't want to ignore what we're thinking. It is a communication tool. It's there for a reason. What is that? We don't want to just shut it down and go, no, I have to be grateful. I have to be positive. We want to acknowledge it. We want to be an allowance of that, because otherwise it's going to get bigger. So we do need to be open to it. But the thing with gratitude and why it's so powerful is because when you're in gratitude, you cannot be in judgment.
Yeah.
So, and it's different to love, because, if you think of someone that you love, person, animal, whatever, you can be loving them at the very same time as you're judging them. And the judgment is always creating a low vibration, always. So even if you've got love there, as long as there's judgment there, it's interfering. However, when you go into gratitude for that person or that animal, there is no room for anything else. Because as soon as you go into judgment, you're no longer in gratitude.
Yeah.
So gratitude only allows that really high vibration. And so it is the most powerful emotion, absolutely.
And it applies.
That's why it's so important to do it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg. I love that you've given us like an actual action step. A lot of people talk about, oh, you have to be this and you have to be that, and you have to look at the positive. But how do you actually do that? You've given us a way to do that. And like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg of the incredible work that you do. So where can people check you out if they want to learn more, and if they potentially want to work with you? Where are you online?
You can find me at holisticlifetransformations.com, and that's holistic with a W, because to me it is all about, looking at this holistically. It's not, I feel anxious and overwhelmed at work, and so I need to just fix that thing, because you're not broken. It's about, oh, hang on, what are we wanting to create, and looking at that more holistically. And so, yeah, holisticlifetransformations.com is where they can find me, get more information, check out who I am, what I'm doing, and also looking out for the book Corporate Dropouts when that drops in February, which is super exciting.
Yes, February 2022. Oh my God, it's just around the corner. And by the time people are listening to this, it will be out. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Christie. It's been wonderful getting to talk all the woo-woo stuff with you. So thank you.
So much fun. I could talk about this stuff forever. I love it.
Likewise, we'll probably need to do more episodes, because like I said, this is just such the tip of the iceberg. So thank
really
you.
Is. Thank you very much.
Hey, it's Ray again. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcasting platform. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, YouTube, and more. And want to be a guest on the show or know someone who has an amazing story of entrepreneurship? Apply on our website at www.chironconsulting.us/podcast.